I don't know about you, but my first cup of coffee in the morning is like heaven. Changes. Let's talk about changes today. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 786. Gonna peek at that and make sure. 786 of what's she up to now. Documenting the journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world business to the online world. And obviously, since it's day 786, I have been transitioning and doing this for a while. And as I've been doing it, I've been bringing other businesses along with me, not necessarily to 100% transition online so that they can work in their pajamas like I prefer to these days, but so that they can make sure, so that times like now, they're not freaking out because not only do they have their brick and mortar or their corporate entity, but they also have an online presence that is allowing them to continue to interact with and serve their customers, the people that they're here to serve, no matter what's going on in the world. And we definitely have a lot of craziness going on in the world and a lot of change going on in the world right now. So I'm thinking of, and change is on my mind right now, change. How do you feel about change? I'm really curious how you feel about change and how you think about change and how you look at it. I used to be a massive resistor to change. Anything out of my normal routine, anything different, I hated it. I had my way of doing things, and it was my way or the highway when I was younger. And the older I got and the more I worked and interacted with other people in different environments and different businesses and different industries and different situations, the more flexible I became, and actually the happier I was because I wasn't married to my own rigid sense of how things have to be in order for me to feel a certain way. And part of it was the lesson I learned by realizing that whenever I felt frustrated, I was totally and completely doing it to myself. And usually I was the only one feeling frustrated. So I was the only one stressed out or frustrated in a situation, and the other people or the other person involved in it had no idea. And that's kind of where I learned that it's a lot easier to be flexible and open-minded and roll with change and look for the positives in the things that are happening. Look for the things that I can do in the situation, not focus on the past or focus on what I've lost or focus on what I can't do right now. I look for the things that I can do. I have to thank my dad for teaching my sisters and I for our entire life that there's no such thing as can't. We say can't a lot. You know, I still say can't, but I will tell you, every time I say the word can't, I kind of get this little nudge or cringe in my stomach because it reminds me of my dad, who passed away 5 years ago now, of brain cancer actually. And it reminds me that I might not want to do something. I might not feel like it. I might not want to put in the effort or the energy or the work that it's going to take to do something. But if I want to do something, I can probably figure out how to do it or get somebody to help me do it. Now I'm 5'1½", right? So there are things that I physically cannot do without the aid of a step stool, which I have a step stool sitting right to my right, or without the help of someone taller that can reach things on the tall shelves. But you know, that's kind of little things that don't really matter. It's the things that we want, that we really strive for, that are really important to us and that are in alignment with our core values and who we really are, that we can do. We just have to believe that we can do it. I'm listening to, as part of this downtime that we're having with respect to what's going on in our world and being socially distanced, the state of Wisconsin today is announcing and putting into effect, and maybe it's tomorrow they're going to put it into effect. I heard one thing I read one thing online, then I heard one thing from my daughter, another thing from a couple other people. So who knows? Doesn't matter. Right now, though, what's happening in Wisconsin is they're doing a stay-at-home order, or safer at home, not stay at home, safer at home order. And a safer at home order means go to the store if you have to, not just because you want to get out and running around. Walk around outdoors, get some fresh air, but go to work if you're still working, if you still have a job. My daughter got fired yesterday. If you still have a job, go to work. And if it's in a necessary industry, or however they define that, then you'll still be working. Then go to work, go about your life, go about your business. Make sure you're taking care of yourself and taking the precautions that have been recommended. You know, my kids have Clorox wipes in their car, and whenever they go anywhere or get anything, my daughter, I went with her to Menards the other day to get a lampshade and a couple things for around the house, and as soon as she gets in her car, she Clorox wipes her hands, she Clorox wipes everything she bought, she Clorox wipes her credit card, her wallet, her door, everything. So I know that she's being safe, which I totally appreciate because I live with her and I am in what you would consider a high risk category. So it was quite exciting that I ventured out and actually went to the store with her. Actually, there were more people there than I thought. It's a great time of change to look at the things on your to-do list, to look at the things that you've always wanted to look into or investigate, and actually investigate those things. Spend some time working on your goals. Read a couple of books like You Can Heal Your Life, or I don't have very many books around me right now. I got my book. I don't have very many books around me right now because I am moving. I was in transition during this whole period. So, you know, talk about change and being in an upheaval. Half my life that I kept is in storage, and the other half is at my daughter's, as I was living in I'm in a temporary situation. So it's crazy, but I'm really grateful that I am at my daughter's, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be out in the country by myself where I was just a few months ago. So change. How are you handling this change, and how have you handled other changes that you've been faced with in your experience and in your life? You know, there's many books and many resources that you can find online that talk about the best way to handle change, how to look at how you've handled change in the past, how you've handled changes that went really well for you, and then building on and creating whatever situation you're in. I do this with challenges, but you can do the same thing with change or obstacles or problems or situations. And what is your strategy? What is your technique for doing that? And then what do you want it to be? What do you really, most of us, let's be honest, we don't want to resist change. We don't want change to feel painful, right? We want change to feel good, because change is always stressful. It can be positively stressful or negatively stressful, but it feels the same inside of us, right? If I'm stressed out because I'm getting married, that is just as stressful as I'm stressed out because I'm afraid I'm going to lose my job, right? So those stresses we need to pay attention to. Is it negative stress or positive stress? And then we have to find ways to release that stress so that it doesn't negatively impact us, especially nowadays with our health and everything. I can make a couple of recommendations right now to help reduce your stress. Turn off the news. Stop watching everything on coronavirus around the world on social media. Once a day, hop in, listen to the task force and what's going on with that, because that's going to be the leading edge of the news. Have a place where you can tap into what's going on in your state or your locality. The only reason I tapped into what's going on in my state yesterday is because my daughter mentioned in a text message after she told me she got fired that Wisconsin was going to do the same thing as Illinois, and I didn't know what that was, so I wanted to know what it was. So of course, what did I do? I pulled up my cell phone like any good self-starter, and I Googled it, and I actually talked to my phone. I said, Google, hey, what's the governor doing in the state of Wisconsin for the coronavirus? And guess what? I got my answer. And that's what we can do. Instead of calling 911, I was horrified when I heard that 911 is asking people to stop calling to ask for information on the coronavirus. People, you want to overload our system and be negatively impacting what's going on in this world that's already blown up like nothing we've ever seen in our lives before? Do silly things like call 911. You know what? Take some personal responsibility. We all can do that. We have to do what we can do to keep the situation from escalating, right? So use our noggins, ask Google before you ask the 911 operators, right? Phone a friend before you call 911. Save 911, save the hospital, save the emergencies, save all of that for the people that are really sick. I heard a terrible thing my son told me yesterday, and this is why I don't watch the news. I get plenty of information from the people in my life. He said in Italy, it is to the point where anyone over 60 is not getting medical treatment or won't be put on a ventilator because they are in such a dire shortage of ventilators that anybody over 60 is basically on their own. To me, who just turned 60 a week ago, that's a little horrifying, right? And when I had my sudden cardiac arrest, I was on a ventilator, so I'm not looking to be on one again, but I think it's horrifying to know that just because I've reached the age of 60, I will automatically be denied. Or it could be. That was in Italy, right? My son's like, well, this is in Italy, not here. Right. So that's why it's important that we all do what we can with respect to the changes that are going on around us. And actually, you can do much, much more, right? You can do and you can wait for the governor to tell you what to do, or you can be proactive. You can take control of your life, and you can do what's right for you and your family and to keep you and everyone around you safe. We're at kind of an unprecedented time where it's not just about us selfishly doing our own thing, right? And we've seen some really negative behavior in that way with respect to, younger people still going on spring break, hundreds and hundreds of people still being at the beach. Now, I saw the picture at the beach, and it looked to me like people were 6 feet apart. So I think it was, I don't remember which news agency had it, but I saw it online briefly, and I kind of scoffed at it, because if you look at the picture, yeah, there's a lot of people on the beach, but guess what? They all looked like they were probably 6 feet apart, except for the people that were already together in their homes. So I don't think there's anything wrong with walking outside, going to the beach, and getting some fresh air during this situation. I think it's imperative to keep our sanity. We can't all go hole up in our houses for weeks or a month or however long it's going to take for this first wave to roll through. We have to be able to get outdoors, and it's pretty easy. I've gone out and gone for walks. I just wave at people and say hi. I don't go up and shake their hand. I'm not hugging anybody these days, but I say hello and I greet them and I smile, because we still need to be human beings and we all need interaction. But we can definitely stay 6 feet apart, cross each other, on the street. You don't have to walk right next to people. And if you're in that crowded of an area, back off, walk slower for 2 seconds. I think it's interesting at Menards, they've got big X's on the floor, 6 feet apart in electrical tape, so people know where to stand. Well, guess what? My son-in-law had called a few days earlier. He's out in Colorado working as a lineman. And so he's still working, and he wants to work as long as he can, of course. But who knows what's going on and what will go on with him. I personally would like it better if he was here with us. But it is what it is. So he said he was horrified and surprised that the gas station he went into had lines of tape on the floor for customers. Now, that's existing because people can't self-manage and keep themselves 6 feet apart. Come on. My sister's had recently recovered from leukemia. I guess it's been a few years now, but she once in a while has to go to the store, and she went to Sam's with my sister, and she's like, she couldn't believe how many people were like right by you, and she's like, 6 feet, please, because she's at risk. So we just need to be cognizant of, it's not just us we're affecting all of the people on the planet around us. And if we keep that in mind, and if we try to be, take care of ourselves, but also remember that there's other people that need to be taken care of as well, I think we'll all be fine. We'll all be better off. So change. Thinking a lot about change today, obviously. Supersize Your Business today was all about paying through your nose. And now I'm not only talking about growing and building your business, but I'm talking about how the heck do you stay in business and how the heck do you survive given all the massive change and given everything that's going on. And how you can do that. And if you need help with that, if you're worried about that, hit me up and ask me in the questions below, because I can't think of a single business that I don't know a way that you can continue to serve your existing customers, not in the same way you were doing before. If you're a nail salon, which I'm really missing my nail salon, I would actually hire a nail salon person to come and do my nails if that were possible. But if you were sanitary, excuse me, tickle. My point is, any business, there is a way to continue to serve and add value to your customers, so that when the smoke clears, you're the salon that people come back to. You're the restaurant that people come back to. I think the restaurants and bars that have not figured out a way to do curbside delivery or takeout and delivery are absolutely crazy. I think they're crazy, because I guarantee those that are not doing it, they're going to probably go out of business in the next month, because customers aren't going to come back to them. They aren't going to. No matter what happens, they won't, because the owners are showing that unless they're sick, I get it. If somebody is sick and they had to go home, I understand why they might not have been able to do something. But there's always something that we can do in any situation. And if we can't physically do it, we can get somebody to help us do it. Especially now, there's a lot of people idle that would be willing to help anybody, and even your customers. I bet you could call on some of your customers to get help to make things happen. But there's a lot of people that would, are saying, I got to work, I got to find a way to work so I can afford food to feed my kids. So we'll all be fine if we do what's right, stick together, and shorten this situation. It's a little interesting, but if we had all, as a country, just shut down everything like we are now, piece by piece by piece, originally, we would have had a much shorter flow of this curve than the way we're doing it piecemeal, state by state by state. It's just kind of dragging out the inevitable, right? Because it's kind of like a wave. The whole thing is gonna come through the country and the world, and then once it's around the world and we figure out how to handle it, guess what? It's still not going to be gone unless we get a cure or a vaccine. It's going to be out there, and it's going to come again. And that's why change is so important. Not only are we changing what we're doing now, we're not going to have to keep social distancing and everything forever, but for right now we need to do it until we can get the measures in place that will make this so that this is no longer a threat to us and everyone else on the planet. All right. So that was Supersize Your Business. Fun Day Challenge, the 365-day Fun Day Challenge was about staring out a window, which a lot of us are getting an opportunity to do these days. But not just staring out a window. That's how some people learn best, is by staring out a window and thinking and using their imagination. So look out of the window today and look for something beautiful. Look for something that is changing, like nature. I don't know where you are. Yesterday we had a beautiful snowstorm, and it looked like a winter wonderland, and nothing was different outside in the world. And today I got a feeling I'm going to look out and see a lot of mud, but I'm also seeing signs of spring. The birds are coming back. So stare out the window and look for something positive. Stare out the window and see something that you've never seen before. Something interesting or that you're curious about that you actually never noticed before. Unless you're staring at a brick wall, and even if you're staring at a brick wall out the window, there's probably something on that brick wall that you've never seen or noticed before. That's it. Go out, have an awesome day. I am doing day 2 today of the Live Challenge Workshop. Yesterday was mostly about background and challenges, and why the heck would you even want to do a challenge, and how do you manage challenges? How do you personally deal with challenges and obstacles and things that pop up in your life? Today will be about, it's at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time, primarily because that's when my 4-year-old granddaughter was in school, but since she's not in school right now, she's going to be here. And I think we're having a sleepover tonight. She wanted to have a sleepover last night, and I said, oh, you got to give mommy some time to decide if you can have a sleepover. So we're going to I'm pretty sure her mom will say yes. And we will have a sleepover tonight, which is always fun. She's amazing and fun to have around. That's it. That's all I've got today. But I'm going to be doing it's going to be, I don't know if I said, it's going to be all about why would somebody want to do a challenge with you? Why would doing a challenge for the people that you serve, which is something everybody can do, like right now, right? If you're home, you can create a challenge after this challenge as soon as next Monday for your people, or even Saturday you could start a challenge for your people, or even while we're going through the challenge, you could start it tomorrow, because you just can be a day behind, and decide, oh, it's nice to get the whole framework and the whole big picture before you hop off and do it, because we're doing it piece by piece by piece. But that would be a great service and a great value and a great way to help your people through this change, through this challenging time. So day 2 of that today. That's it. That's all I've got today. Go out, have an amazing day. If I can help you in any way, if you are freaking out about you don't know what to do next, just ask in the comments below. And if I don't know what you should do, or if I don't know who to, or what is a good move for you, I will steer you to the person or the resource that can help you. Have an awesome day, and I will of course be with you tomorrow. Bye.